Moving from a kit lens to a prime lens has always been the first step for most people wanting to carry on and get into astrophotography. For me, the first kit lens I got for my DSLR back in the day was a nifty 50, or the Plastic Fantastic 50mm F1.8. Certainly a lot cheaper than something like this, which is my favourite 50mm full frame lens now. It's a Sigma 50mm F1.4 Art, but it's a lot more expensive and a lot heavier as well. For DSLRs, these have always been often popular choices, being the nifty 50 and the Rokinon 14mm f2.8. But for those with E-Mount cameras, the APS-C E-Mounts particularly, and for Micro Four Thirds, choices are a little bit more limited. But one option to consider might be the Sigma 30mm f1.4 Contemporary. It's quite cheap, it's £250 UK pound, or about $350 US. It's quite fast, it's again f1.4, and it's got quite good image quality. I tested this lens out on my Sony A6000. Now 30mm equates to around 45mm on a full frame camera, which is a good size for doing images of constellations, and using stitching software like Microsoft Ice, you can use it for Milky Way panoramas. I haven't been able to do that at the moment. The Milky Way, or the pretty part of the Milky Way, isn't that well placed at the moment from the UK, but I'm going to give that a go next March. I've taken some images of Orion with the camera and lens, so let's load them up in Lightroom and give it a look.
This image was taken a couple of weeks ago at my local beach. As you can see, there's heavy vignetting on the corners. This was exposed for about 8 seconds at f1.4, the widest aperture available on the lens, and has picked up Orion quite nicely. Even from here though, you can see a purple halo around the brighter stars. If we look in closer, you can see the strong chromatic aberration on the brightest stars. I took this image from my garden a couple of nights ago. I've stopped the lens down to f2.2. You can see that the vignetting has eased off slightly, but there is still some strong vignetting in the corners. The chromatic aberration isn't as visible, but is still there, and if we look in a bit closer, you can see that it's eased, but is still visible. This can be corrected slightly in Photoshop, and if we go into the corners, the astigmatisms have gone down massively, and are not really too much of a problem unless you look really closely. Now if we take this image and we apply lens corrections in Lightroom, the images come out much better in the corners. But if we look in closer, the chromatic aberration will take a little bit of fixing, but isn't too bad. And if you step it down further to f2.8, the chromatic aberration drops even further. But it's a balance, it's a compromise, and you would have to decide which is best for the images you are taking.